Vietnam is an amazing country. Breathtaking landscapes, incredible street food, and rich culture. But let's be real, scammers love tourists. And if you're planning on going out at night in Vietnam and having a few drinks, you're putting yourself at risk. I'll share with you probably my worst ever experience in Vietnam, which was a bar girl scam after a Christmas party gone wrong, and then give you some tips for how you can avoid the sort of more common scams you see everywhere in the streets with vendors, taxis, drivers, hotels, etc. So let's get into it. So if you've ever gotten into a taxi and just like watched the meter spin and spin and spin, this is definitely a scam. The thing will look like a slot machine, and it's a rigged taxi machine. And it can either be in the actual unit or in the odometer of the car, and it makes it seem like you're traveling farther or faster than you are, so you end up paying more. Some look forwards to avoid this are check to make sure the taxi isn't faking a brand. So the big brands here are Venus Sun and Mylin. These are their logos. And you'll see fake logos or similar logos. So Mylin is green and Venus Sun is burgundy and green. They'll have the wrong color, the wrong branding. Another classic way is the driver isn't in the appropriate pickup spot. Usually licensed pickup spots for taxis at airports and Grab ride-hailing apps. And if they're not there, definitely don't trust them. Another way you can avoid this is just to negotiate your fare from A to B before you get in the car, and make sure the locks on the back doors work. If the driver's intentionally broken the lock so you can't get out of their cab, it's just not a trustworthy thing to do. Don't get in a car where you can be locked in the back and blackmailed. If you're safety conscious, check to make sure they haven't broken the back seat belts. That's pretty common here too. Number two is fake booking agencies or fake deals. You find these a lot here, especially if you're just scrolling online. They're really common on Facebook. And what you basically see is the promotion and package for a real trip, 2-night cruise to Ha Long Bay or something like that. But the price seems absolutely amazing. It's like 80% off, or it's too good to be true, literally. A $500 cruise listed for $79.99. They're basically just gonna try and get your number and your credit card info. They're gonna ask you, or they're gonna send you their banking info. It's always just gonna be personal, right? It's gonna be their name, their bank number, whatever. Transfer me the money to pay a deposit up front. And then after you book, either you get much lower class accommodations, crappy scam, it's not what they promised, it's not safe, it's not clean, or worst of all, they just disappear. And the person you've been interacting with, the account is gone the next day after you've transferred them money. The way to look out for this is use reliable sites. Look at TripAdvisor and Google reviews. Read through the actual reviews and comments to make sure this is a legitimate travel agent and booking agent. Or you can use my affiliate site, book through something like trip.com, which you can do when you're still at home, and be ensured that you have the safety to get a refund through them because your credit card info is going through trip.com and not just through some random Facebook account. 3, this one's an overpriced street food and just street food vendor scams. The food here is absolutely delicious. I highly recommend you try everything and go for it, especially specific regional cuisines, but there are some pretty common scams, especially you find these in Hanoi. So there's vendors, they're often cute little old ladies, they're walking with food on the back of their bike. Donuts and fruit are a really common one. And they give it to you, and basically the second it touches your hand, they're gonna ask you for money and they're gonna ask you for a ridiculous price. Now, some people might say, whatever, it's not a real scam, Evan, who cares? Because it's just $1 or $2 or whatever. But you have to understand, there are real, legitimate, honest businesses and great people selling good products in Vietnam. And a vendor like that who's just a scammer can literally scam hundreds of people a day. And not only are they giving you a bad experience, they're also taking money away from legit, honest salespeople and mom and pop shops. You don't wanna support this no matter what, right? Don't just be like shamed or goaded into doing it. Another classic one is in the restaurant, sort of add-on fees for wet towels, peanuts, and beers and drinks. What happens too is the waitress will say, do you want another beer? And then if there's 8 people at your table, as they're walking to the table, they're like pops and opening all the beers. So every single time someone asks for something, you end up with another 8 or 10 beers on your bill. Another one is the classic menu swaps. There's an English menu and a Vietnamese menu. They have different prices. Or worst of all, there's no menu and they just offer you the daily special. Well, what's the daily special? It's you, if you're a chump, and they're gonna sell you whatever average whole fish and charge you like 10 times what a local or normal person would pay for market price. So be advised, ask for menus. Again, look at the real reviews online, Google reviews, TripAdvisor reviews, not just the number, right? Because a lot of places can fake 5-star reviews with deals. Read the written reviews by real people and see what they say about the place. You can literally do it when you're standing in front of the restaurant. There's no reason not to check a place out. You don't want to have a bad experience. You're only here for a short time. Number 4, this is the classic helpful stranger scam. It's often a young person. Guys, can definitely be a cute girl. Someone approaches you, you're having a coffee or a drink, you're somewhere probably pretty touristy. by a beach maybe, or in the heart of Old Town. They sit down beside you, casual chatter, they've got a nice smile, they seem cute. They say, oh, you're going for a walking tour today? Blah, why don't we go together? I'll show you around. The way it works is really simple. You probably have a great time with them. They do in fact take you on a tour of town, but you get progressively farther and farther away from wherever you've met them, away from your hotel, away from the main tourist drag, and then you get put in a double bind catch-22 spot at the end of the day where you're stuck in the middle of nowhere with them. Maybe it's nighttime too, sun's going down, you don't know where you are, you're lost, and now they want a huge tip or exorbitant fee, or they're not going to help you get back. Or worse, they'll do something sort of nefarious. Just beware of strangers. People are nice here, but something that seems too friendly, too out there, too shocking to believe, maybe it is. How do you trust someone? Get them to give you their information. If they're a tour guide or they say they're a tour guide, they should have reviews. They should have a business card. They should have a Facebook or an Instagram page going to show you that they're a reviewed travel guide. All of these things can be legitimized and checked within seconds on a phone. Don't just trust someone for nothing, right? If they're actually operating a business or if they're actually just a friend, they'll give you their WhatsApp, they'll give you their Zalo. And another surefire way to avoid scammy places is to book through your hotel or to book through trip.com. And that way you have like an extra third-party platform you can trust. 5 are all the money exchange and ATM scams, anything related to your currency and cash. In other videos, I've told you about the Wise card. I use it. Apparently Americans can't get it now. There's other options. You can look in the description. You hand over your stall to exchange cash. This is usually happening at a gold dealer or an off-market place, somewhere near a tourist strip. They give you a stack of bills. Everything looks gravy. You sign it. They take their photo of your passport. It looks all professional and legitimate. Half the bills or half the wadded pack turns out to be fakes that have been jammed in the middle, or they give you ripped and out of circulation currency. And in Vietnam, people are really strict about only taking sort of pristine bills or pristine money. So I've had this one happen to me where I had US $100 bills given to me and it looked fine. There's like, a stack of 20 US bills. And then you find out later 2 of them are actually damaged. Essentially, you've been robbed or snookered for $200. Maybe you'll get it back from a nice bank when you go home, maybe not. ATMs, especially, be wary. There are tons of PIN scams. You want to look for real logos. You want to see the Visa logo, the MasterCard logo, the debit logo, anything like that. You want to be using only Vietnam's major banks like Vietcom Bank, Sacom Bank, or Agribank. Do not trust an ATM at a bar or a restaurant. And for the love of God, don't let someone take your credit card or walk away with your card, especially if you have that 3-pin number on the back exposed. Cover that up with a little piece of black tape or hockey tape or something. Make sure you're following the vendor and watching them input the price and everything, the info on the debit card machine. Make sure you're covering your PIN when you're entering it, or just ask them to bring the ATM, the handheld, to the table. Don't let someone walk away with your card. It takes a millisecond to take a picture of the back of your card with all the info. Later that night at midnight, you're getting all these little purchases on Facebook Marketplace. Be warned, it happens. Number 6 is a classic, the motorbike or the rental scam. And what happens is the person seems friendly, it's a dealer, you see a sign on the street with a great price. Maybe it's located across the street from your hotel or whatever. It seems trustworthy, you see other tourists going there. They rent you a bike, everything seems gravy, but they ask for collateral. They want your passport, or they want cash, or they want a pre-approved debit payment as you would to book a hotel in advance. All seems fine. You take the bike, you go driving. Turns out the bike sucks, it's dinged up, it breaks down, or there's some sort of hidden problems or scratch you don't notice because you're not a bike mechanic. And you go to take the bike back, boom, they ding you. They're blackmailing you for your passport, for your money. They're keeping your cash, keeping your collateral, whatever it is you've given them. Be very wary of this. There are tons of these scams. They're super common. How can you avoid it? Book with a real tour guide. Book a driver for you instead of just driving illegally on a $4 a day bike. Book a car or car hire instead. Or if you do go through a motorbike trip, legit, well-reviewed, real motorbike tour guides, they exist. Another common thing that happens is people steal your bikes back. Sounds super nefarious because it is. This one may have actually happened to me, I'm not sure, because I had my bike, one of my old motorbikes, stolen from a mall parking lot. Should be cameras, should be whatever. There was a common scam happening in Ho Chi Minh City at a pretty well-known condo full of expats, and the parking lot attendants were stealing bikes and then blackmailing people to pay to get their motorcycles back. When it was all right there on camera and got exposed, it sounds like a stupid, simple scam. It's because it was, but still, you don't want to get stuck with these things happening. One of the ways to do this, make sure the bike is locked, like it's actually locked in place and you can't adjust it, because people will literally just can pick the lock and steal a bike. And if you leave the tire lock open, it's easy to get away with, literally seconds. Another good tip with this is take a photo of the person renting you the bike. Ask for a selfie with them, ask to see their ID from the government. The new ones all have their photos on them. If someone who's reputable and running a real business is asked for that, they'll say yes. There's no problem, right? Why would they be ashamed of it? If they're trying to scam you, obviously they don't want you to have a photo of you and them. The next classic one, this is like the trinkets and tchotchkes, the pushy vendors on the beach, the bracelet ladies. Some people are probably going to criticize me and say, oh, it's not a scam, it's only a few pennies. I can buy a crappy bracelet on the beach if I want. And you can, go for it. You can also pay $10 for a coconut on the beach if you want. That's up to you. The scam's super simple. You're lying down, you're chilling on the beach, someone walks up to you, they hand you something, ooh, yummy, coconut, great, new bracelet. They tie a bracelet on your arm and then they sort of walk away and they request a ridiculous price. If you want to buy $10 bracelets that are worth 35 cents or whatever and have the memory, if you just don't care and you're willing to pay 5 times the market price for a cold coconut, go for it, be my guest. The easiest way to avoid this is to just say hum, like nothing. K-H-O-N-G, it's pronounced more like hum or hum. And just any vendor walks up to you, shake your hand like this and be like, hum, hum, hum. Next one's a little scarier. Fake police and bribe scams. These used to be a lot more common. They do still exist. And basically what happens is you get pulled over by the traffic cops here. And there's many in the past of fake traffic cops. So people just have these beige uniforms. They look like a traffic cop. And essentially they're just out to steal your passport or steal your motorcycle. And they know that if you're a tourist on a motorbike, you're probably renting it illegally and don't have insurance or a driver's license. They feel enabled to steal it from you because they think you won't be able to get it back. Sometimes they can be even connected to the person you rented the bike from. What do? Well, you can't just like blow traffic stop and not slow down if a cop waves you over. So they'll flash their baton at you, you pull over. Here are the things to look for. If they ask for your keys, say no, put it in your pocket. If they ask for your identification, make sure you have a photocopy of your passport or your TRC or whatever visa you're traveling on and give them a photocopy. Do not give them real ID, do not give them your phone, do not give them the keys to the bike or the motorbike you're on. As soon as you do that, they have leverage, you're screwed. The other simple answer is keep a little bit of cash with you. Keep a few hundred K, 100K, 200K, whatever. Regardless of what insane price the bribe is, they want 10 million, they want 5 million, $100 US, pull out a small amount of money and you hold that money very tightly and you say, this is for the fine, I want a receipt. If it's a real cop, they can write you a receipt. If it's a real cop, they should also have a GoPro on the helmet on their head and then just do the motorbike thing too. Ask for a photo with the cop of the receipt or ask if you can take a photo of their identification. If it's super scammy or weird, this will tend to shy people off and they might literally just wave you away and tell you to drive off and get lost. If things seem super shady or you get put in a really nasty spot, call your embassy or consulate or call 113, which is the actual like police emergency line here, and ask for help. Hotel and accommodation scam, book through a legitimate site like trip.com or booking or whatever, have your reservation, etc. And then you get the DM and the DM is welcoming you to the place saying, I hope you have a great time, etc., etc. And then somewhere along the way, they ask you to cancel your original reservation and just pay in cash or to direct message them and send them money transfer. This isn't always a scam. Sometimes it's just them being cheap. So they're trying to get out of paying the 20% or 30% fee that they're gonna have to pay to booking or trip.com. It's ridiculous, you should just ignore it. And one of the reasons you should ignore it is that once you do that, if you cancel your original reservation that you have with the legitimate booking site, you can no longer give them a review. So basically you've lost your leverage to be able to review them as a legitimate business, and so is everyone else. Should have a bunch of 3-star reviews, but they're actually only allowing 10-star reviews from friends and scammers. Don't do it. It's not good business, it's not good policy. You're harming yourself, but also like other tourists and travelers. Be solid, use the actual booking site. Who cares if they have to pay a 20% fee or whatever, like they're running a business. Okay, last up, I'm gonna tell you about my all-time worst experience in Vietnam. Sounds ridiculous, super simple bar scam. You know, I'm an idiot for falling prey to it, but I was out with a bunch of work friends. It was late at night, I was drunk, and it all happened so fast. And I basically lost $500 US in about 5 minutes. And it happened in this kind of KTP place. So a KTV is like a karaoke, but it's really like a talking bar or girl bar. Girls sit in the room with you, keep you company, sing karaoke with you, yada, yada. So we go in after a Christmas party at work. Everybody's super intoxicated. We walk in, a group of us, all expats, all foreigners. They ask if we like whiskey. Yeah, sure, we love whiskey. Who doesn't love whiskey, right? They're like, Jack Daniels? We're like, yeah, Jack Daniels is great. No point is there a menu or like telling us, do you want a Jack Daniels? Do you want a Jack and Coke? Anything like that. And then they're asking my other friend, they're like, oh, do you want to smoke something? And we're thinking like, oh no, we don't want drugs or whatever. But they're like, no, hookah. Two girls walk in, one with a bottle of Jack Daniels, opening the bottle before it hits the table. So now you're on the books for the bill for that, whatever the price is, and we don't know what the price is yet. And then the hookah goes down, and this is where it gets super weird or sketchy. We were all drunk and it was our fault, maybe it wasn't, but somehow the hookah gets knocked over. So there's an open bottle of Jack Daniels and a broken glass hookah on the floor. We haven't been there 5 minutes. None of us have even had a sip of a drink. And then the girls are yelling. It's super weird and sketchy. We're like, what the hell is going on? A bill gets brought to us. And we're in a place like this. You can't get out. You're upstairs. There's no like way to leave paying your bill. There's security, there's guys there, yada, yada. And it just says, hookah, $250 US, Jack Daniels, $250 US, and there's a bill for $500 US. We haven't been there 5 minutes, haven't had a sip of beer. There's a language barrier, we're drunk, it's late, place is sketchy. We didn't look at the reviews, we didn't do any screening firsthand. But what are your options? None. Either you come up with the cash, or worse, you have to give people you already know are scammers and fraudulent your credit card, the ultimate worst case scenario. Or I've heard of this one too, you literally get walked to the ATM and are like bullied, forced into taking out cash on the spot. I'm Evan A. Thanks so much for watching. If you want early access and exclusive access to videos, questions and answers, streams, etc., check out my Patreon account, patreon.com/EvanAEH, or watch my most recent videos from my weird, wonderful, what the F trips abroad in Southeast Asia and Vietnam.